Hello and welcome back to the Bliss Bean. Happy October! It's the beginning of a new month, which means it is time to review the previous month. This video is going to be my September monthly review, so let's get right into it. So the first accomplishment that I wrote down was going back to school, which I don't know if it really counts because I have no other choice but to go back to school. But it was really hard adjusting back to the school routine, so I think it counts. Number 2 was a goal that I set for the school year, which was not doing any homework at all from Friday to Sunday, and I achieved that. Honestly though, this year has been pretty easy academically, so I haven't been really doing much homework at all. I get most of my schoolwork done at school. Going back to school also meant returning to a lot of extracurricular things like clubs, and a lot of those clubs I am leading this year, so that was really new and also hard to adjust to. I put in the work and I think I've done a pretty good job leading those clubs so far this year, and I'm excited to see how the rest of the year goes. Number 4 is dropping a class, which doesn't sound like an accomplishment, but I think I made the right choice for myself. I was taking AP Spanish last year, and so I thought senior year I could get like a start on a new language, but then I realized that it is hard to keep languages in your head if you're not like consistently practicing them every day. So I just didn't see how I could start learning a new language while at the same time finding time to keep practicing Spanish outside of school. So I took French 1 for a total of 3 or 4 days, I think. So now basically I have a study hall in my schedule, which has been so useful and has made it a lot easier to achieve that no homework from Friday to Sunday goal. I think sometimes you just have to remember that loading as many classes and extracurriculars and things onto your plate isn't necessarily always the best thing to do. Sometimes you have to drop things because then it'll help you do better in your most important commitments. Okay, let's stop talking about school. Outside of school accomplishments, again, I kept up with my content calendar for my blog this month, which was very satisfying because I kind of proved to myself that even though the school year has started, I can still keep up with my blog and still produce content on a regular schedule. Also, speaking of my blog, I set a goal to do 3 collaborations with different brands. So I just did a bunch of research, sent out a bunch of emails, and I actually was more successful than I thought it would be. It has been a goal of mine since I started blogging to like work with brands and be able to share things that might generally be useful to my audience. Even though it was hard to like find the time and energy to do that after school, I still got it done. The next accomplishment you can see behind me, or maybe not because it's blurry. I'm using my 1.8 aperture lens. I'll put in like a B-roll clip, but this is my gap year wall, as I'm calling it. As you probably already know, I'm taking a gap year after senior year, and there are a lot of things I want to do and places I want to go, and I'm also a very visual learner, so I realized that I needed something like big and concrete to help me visualize and plan my gap year, but also to just be a constant reminder that I'm going on this gap year and like motivate me to plan and save up for it. So I decided to make this 15-month calendar starting in June 2019, which is the month that I graduate, going all the way until August 2020, which will be the last month before the academic school year. I also wanted it to look pretty, so I found some old National Geographic magazines and I cut out pictures. I found some travel quotes that I really like. I think it's going to be a good reminder of how soon this is actually coming up because I keep forgetting that I'm about to graduate high school and like leave. I'm planning on making a second video for my gap year series just to like update on what I've researched and planned and figured out, so look out for that. Okay, the last accomplishment has to do with health. So during the summer I would go to the gym a lot, whether it was to do group classes or just work out on my own. I really like going to the gym. I love the atmosphere. It really motivates me and I just think it's fun, but it's just not very efficient because you have to get ready, put on like presentable gym clothes, you have to drive to the gym, find a parking spot, walk in, get all set up. If you do an hour workout, that's like an hour and 30 minutes total taken out of your day. So during the school year, that's kind of a struggle to fit that into your schedule. So I usually only go to the gym like once or twice per week during the school year, and all of my other workouts I try to do at home. It was a little bit of a challenge adjusting back to that because again, I just don't think working out at home is as fun, and it's harder to motivate myself to do it at home, but I did it. I kind of got used to it, and once you get into the routine of like coming home after school and working out right away, then it's just not as intimidating, you don't dread it as much, and you always feel really good and energized afterwards. So as with anything, you just have to like force yourself to do it the first couple of times, and then you kind of get the ball rolling. Okay, next section is for good things that happen. Good things that happened is less about things that I personally did, more about just serendipitous things that happened that were happy and good. So one thing was celebrating my brother's 11th birthday. We went to a state park for that, and we went on a really long hike. It was extremely tiring and very rainy, and I fell on my butt and didn't eat for like 8 hours, but it was really fun. Somehow after all of that, it was still really fun to just be outside with my family and do something challenging and then feel accomplished afterwards. So going on that trip and then celebrating my brother's birthday afterwards was really fun. And then one more good thing that happened this month was I won a giveaway. It sounds very materialistic, but I won this giveaway that I entered on Instagram with Fringe Studio. I think it's like a notebook and a pencil case or something like that, but I love stationery, so I was super excited about it. Moving on to lessons of the month. My first lesson this month was that I need to find more of a focus with my blog. I wrote about this in a couple of very long Instagram captions. Basically, my Instagram focus is mainly on food and I guess also kind of health, but then my blog is more about productivity and lifestyle. And while they are related, I think both are like key elements of a happy and balanced life. They say that you need like a specific niche for your blog if you want to be successful. And I'm not a blogging expert, but I'm pretty sure that having a happy and balanced life is definitely not a very specific niche. So I've just been doing some thinking, filling out some blogging workbooks, and just trying to figure out how I'm gonna like steer my content in one direction, one specific direction. I'm pretty sure that I want to focus on productivity and lifestyle more than I want to focus on food. I like food and I like sharing food, but it's not something that I can talk about for hours and hours the way that I can talk about productivity and lifestyle and things like that. So I think my challenge will be trying to move my Instagram more in the direction of my blog. I think the first step was making the realization that there was this inconsistency, and now I just have to figure out what to do about it. The second lesson of the month is that being creative will not always be easy. I like to call them creative crises, where I just feel totally stuck. Like everything creative I attempt to do, whether it is making a recipe or shooting a video or editing photos, everything just feels like it's going wrong. I don't feel satisfied with anything that I'm producing. So I had that happen this month, and I didn't know what to do. I went on this Facebook group that I'm a part of, the Lavender Lifestyle group, and I posted on there about that, and I got some helpful responses. I think the key takeaway was that this is gonna happen. Like, you can't avoid this. You just have to acknowledge that your creativity is gonna return eventually, hopefully soon, and accept that not everything you create is gonna be your favorite thing ever, but you have to make some crap in order to make the really good things that you're proud of. Lesson number 3. I always do 3 lessons, by the way. Lesson number 3 is to surround yourself with positivity. So something I've been doing is every week I change my phone wallpaper. 1 second. Okay. So I've been making it like some inspirational picture or motivational message. This week it is, so I found this on Pinterest. It says, "You can and you will because you're a badass like that." And just every time I open up my phone, it makes me smile, and it reminds me that I just need to be confident in my capabilities. So in addition to that, I also have like little quotes around my room. I started putting my monthly goals right up above my desk where I can constantly see them. I have like a positive message written on my mirror, and then my gap year wall is also like a constant reminder of what I want to achieve in the future. So just surrounding myself with these positive and inspiring and motivating messages has been really helpful this month. So, my book of the month was You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. I didn't read it because it never came in the library. I put it on hold at the very end of August, and I'm still waiting for it. So I did not read a book this month. So I guess that's another thing I can add to my September lessons, is put books on hold early. Next section is what I'm watching. So in AP Psych, we watched this documentary called The Push. It's really hard to summarize the plot. So basically it was just a project to see what you can get people to obey to. What crazy things can you push them to do? So it ended with the subjects, like the experiment subjects, except it wasn't a scientific experiment. But anyways, it ended with them being told to push someone off of a building. It was very, very scary to watch, but also really fascinating. Something else that I watched, I saw on Instagram that Jen Im had made a new video, and it was really intriguing, so I watched watched it, and it was called My Teenage Thoughts, and she literally took her journal entries from when she was in high school and just responded to them and like gave advice from her perspective now that she's grown up. It was just such a well-made video and really emotional. Even though I feel like right now as a high schooler, I feel like I'm in a pretty good place generally, I definitely have days where I feel down and I am uncertain about my future, and so it was just really comforting to hear from someone whom I really admire and think is extremely successful, and see that they struggled in the past too. Like, no one is immune to that, no one is perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and I think it's good to acknowledge the struggles that everyone goes through. I also enjoyed watching BTS's appearances on American TV this month. They went on America's Got Talent, Jimmy Fallon, Good Morning America. They did an interview at the Grammy Museum. They spoke at the United Nations, so it just got me really hyped for the concert that is happening in a few days. By the time this video comes out, I will already have gone to the concert. Okay, next is a new section which I'm calling What I'm Loving. This is just a catch-all for things that I'm not watching or reading. Now that autumn is here, I've been eating a lot more turmeric. I got like this big bag of turmeric from Suncor Foods, and so I've been making golden lattes, golden oatmeal. I also want to try baking some things with it because honestly, aside from the flavor and everything, that's great, whatever, the health benefits, the color is so pretty. I talked earlier in this video about how I've been working out at home more often, and so basically every time I work out at home, I do either a circuit workout or I do Fitness Blender workout. Fitness Blender is a YouTube channel that is so good. Their videos are just like no nonsense, good workout videos. They basically have any kind of workout you could ever want, whether you have full equipment, whether you just have a dumbbell, whether you have nothing, however much time you have, whatever intensity you want. Fitness Blender has it. So that's been a lifesaver. The last thing is I got this new moisturizer, the St. Ives Renewing Collagen and Elastin Moisturizer. This is a face moisturizer which isn't really immediately apparent from the packaging, but it smells so nice and it is so like light and refreshing. And also I really like that it comes in a tub because I have just been getting so annoyed by like the squeeze things because you can never get all the product out. This is so much easier to use, and it's on Amazon for pretty cheap, so highly recommend this. Okay, let's wrap this up. So if I had to summarize September, I would say that September definitely like challenged my balancing skills again in terms of juggling like school and extracurriculars and blogging and everything else, but I think I did a pretty good job, so I'm looking forward to a very good rest of 2018. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications. I say this every time, but please, I really appreciate it. Next week's video will be about the BTS concert that I talked about, and I think that's all I have to say. I don't really have a long outro today, so bye!